One. Hello and welcome to another episode of Interviews with Hyperpolyglots at HYPIA. I'm the president, Dr. Usman Chohan, and today it's my pleasure to invite a dear and long-standing member of HYPIA, Alex Souza. Alex, very nice to have you.
Nice to have you here too, Usman, and it's a pleasure to talk to you after being member of HYPIA for over 2 years. And I'm quite sure that is an excellent moment to talk to you because I can talk to the people better now who are members of HYPIA, and I'm quite sure that we can talk about it, and I am witness of many things that I have looked, and I have realized that we can take more advantage of the association at the moment.
Yeah, it's true. You know, it has changed a lot in 2 years. It's grown. You have invited some fellow members. We've had a significant advancement. Percentage-wise, it's large because we started from a small base. And so now we are more than 300 members. And you joined when it was still quite young. Oh, it's still young. So tell us a little bit about the languages that you speak.
Okay, I speak 10 languages to varying levels. And at the moment, I'm learning Chinese, which I don't consider my language yet. That's the reason that I didn't apply it for HYPIA, because I need to improve to a minimal level of communicational. But I speak, apart from my native language, Portuguese, English, Spanish, Italian, French, German, Russian, Esperanto, Catalan, and Dutch. And apart from learning one language, because there's many people who prefer to learn more than one language at the moment, but I'm focusing on Chinese, a new language to learn, and I decided to improve the levels of the ones that I currently communicate. I want to speak more fluently in some of them.
And it's always interesting to ask people why they got into this. So what's the story? Why did you get into this?
Okay, this story didn't start well. When I was a teenager, it was in the 80s, I started learning English. And I must admit that I wasn't so motivated to learn, as at that time there was no internet and there were no many nice courses available. So I lost motivation and I stopped learning. But at the age of 20, 21, I was ashamed of speaking just one language, and then I decided to learn English really seriously. Apart from that, I thought to myself, why only English? I didn't have answer for that, and then I decided learning Spanish. Then at the same time, like in 2 years, after 95 to 97, I learned Italian and French. And I was like over motivated, we can say. I thought it was too easy to learn. This was frustrating because I didn't realize that I learned only Romance languages were close to mine, apart from English, of course, but Italian, French, and Spanish are close to Portuguese. Then I decided to learn 5 languages at the same time. It was my big mistake. So I could barely learn one, and the internet was still starting.
Yes.
Like by the end of the 90s. I got frustrated. I made a bigger mistake because I didn't learn these 5 new languages. I just learned a little bit German. I stopped learning language, so this was my bigger mistake. After a long period, I got my new and biggest friend, the internet, which made me be very motivated because we can talk to the whole world like I'm talking to you at the moment in Pakistan and here in Brazil. I started learning all the language like Russian, and I was reviewing and learning again many things, and I could communicate in these 6 languages faster. And then I started learning the other ones, Esperanto, Catalan, and Dutch. Although Catalan is also Latin language, and Esperanto is a conlang. But my biggest challenge, I guess, it's Chinese at the moment. I decided to learn a non-Indo-European language. I've been learning it for 2 years, but I need a little bit more to reach a communication level. Although I'm studying without a teacher, I'm studying self-taught.
There is a myth that the plasticity of, it's not a myth because it's backed up by science to the extent that generally people's plasticity of the brain reduces with time, so they struggle with it. Then I say it's a myth because members of HYPIA, which is a self-selected group, they are quite good at it. So do you find that age is starting to make it difficult, or it doesn't matter?
No, not at all. It's interesting. I was talking about this yesterday, that I remembered one special event that happened to me in like 6 years ago. My friend, who I hadn't met for a long time, didn't remember that, and she gave me a birthday cake. Was so cute, and then she told me, I don't remember that. So, well, you were so special. And she's younger than me. And many people say that we remember, we have a long memory better than our short memory. I was 41 when this fact happened. And I'm quite sure that learning language help us to be mentally healthy.
This is a very good sign because it means that your general memory tends to be strong. You're also suggesting that studying languages strengthens memory. I find that my memory for ordinary tasks is quite poor because I have to leave space for a vast corpus or an advanced level in at least 6 languages. You're saying that your general memory is also very strong. Is that correct?
Well, I started focusing on something that is relevant to my life, and I didn't pay too much attention on things that are not going to contribute to my daily routine or my future. So then our memory start deleting things that are not relevant, starting rather than starting trying to remember things. Oh, well, but why would we be worried about remembering irrelevant things, right?
You're saying relevant to your life because in your professional life, you're a mentoring coach, and language has a substantial professional advantage in that context. Tell me about the mentoring coach business that, or the occupation that you have taken in life.
It's a very interesting tale. Actually, I was appointed as a coach by one of my ex-clients. I didn't know I was a coach, and as I work in a corporate world, those people are very, very used to being coached. So they can detect a coach very easily, easier than me. So one of them who worked for a bank corporation here, who was he was mentored by me for a year and a half. And after a year, he told me, no, you're not my teacher at all. You are my coach. And then I started researching more about it. And I realized there are more coaches than I thought, like Luca Lampariello from Italy, who is one of the most famous coach around the world, language coach. And I decided to start learning more about coaching and mentoring. Recently, I made a video with Carlos Lopez, who is also our fellow member here.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the differences between teaching, coaching, and mentoring. We made a whole video focused on that. And we can talk better about these to the ones who are interested in knowing, and then we can send them a link, the link of this video.
Certainly, I can add that link to the description of this video, but if you could present it summarily, as a summary, what are the differences between teaching, coaching, and mentoring?
Mm-hmm. Well, teaching means we are going just show the content to the ones who want to know one specific topic. So we're going to share the content. Let's say like you want to summarize. You want me to summarize that differences. Those differences. I can say that yeah, teaching means sharing the content. Mentoring means sharing our experience, our language learning experience.
Okay.
And coaching, we are going to find out their best way to learn. So we're going to focus on the coachee. And many language learning methods haven't been used by me, but have been used by one of you, for instance, one of our fellow members who have shared. And I have realized either on our chat on WhatsApp or on our meetings on Zoom every month, or even personally, like or talking private by WhatsApp, we can learn with each other, and we can realize that that method that one of our members has learned can be helpful to one of my clients, for instance.
That makes perfect sense. And there are distinctions that make sense to me. Now, your specialization is mentoring and coaching. And what sort of people do you deal with, and what sort of mentoring and coaching areas are covered within that?
Mm-hmm. Well, today my clients are in São Paulo, but I have already got clients even in Ukraine, who was learning Spanish, and she learned Spanish in a year. Olga Comer, if she sees this video, would be nice. She lives in Poland at the moment, and I realized that she was quite interested in learning the language. Here in Brazil, the situation is a little bit different.
Okay.
Different from Europe. Why? 95% of Brazilians don't speak another language, don't speak a foreign language. And we are surrounded by countries that speak another language who is close, very close to ours.
Yes.
And this makes people be a little bit lazy or postponing. They are going to postpone their language learning, their English learning. I would say that we need to focus on one special group and for language mentoring and coaching. So over the time, I have developed this because I started working for the corporate world, to companies that are in the international scenario, such as Nestle and others, Santander and many other companies. And people who work in these companies, they have already got post-graduation degree, and they still think they need to improve their English. So our situation is way behind Europe, for instance, which they are very used to learn language. There are over 50 languages in Europe. And so I could have taken a look at the scenario there and try to adapt, and I'm still working on that, to adapt in our scenario. And São Paulo is more advanced than other cities. I mean, in general, of course, there are exceptions. So there are people who speak better than others, and most of these people live in big cities like São Paulo, Brasilia, Rio de Janeiro. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because I find it more interesting when somebody from a unilingual society applies for HYPIA. And I understand the challenge that you face generally in South America, but we have a disproportionate representation of Brazilians and a disproportionate representation of South Americans in HYPIA. That's partly due to our director of recruitment being from South America. I mean, that helps. But still, the advantages that they have in Europe, and then the typical pattern of speaking a bunch of Romance languages, and I'm guilty of this too, right? It's less exciting than, for example, if you were from China and then you manage six. That is remarkable. Same for any South American country. We were exposed to one language in the education system, English a bit older, and then you also learn 4 or 5 other languages. That's pretty cool. And that's why I find it more interesting and gratifying to see the diversity. Do you know that HYPIA has 300 members from 65 countries already? It's quite cool.
Yeah, I'm updated. Last time I talked to Matthias, and he told me that we are already over 300 members. I guess, and that we have one mission, is to make the world believe that everyone can learn language. Because there are many people, oh, you are a genius, you are out of this world, you are from another planet. And this doesn't make sense. Everyone can learn language. And we, like you and me, and all the polyglots, I have never met any polyglot who disagrees with that. We are, because there are a lot of topics that we don't agree with each other, and this is healthy. Yes. But this, actually, it's a great news to the ones who want to learn language. So if the polyglots think like that, why are going to disagree? So if you think differently, actually, you don't want to. I told the people, you are not interested to learn language. So this is another thing. But don't say that it's impossible to learn.
I agree. It's not about can't, it's about want. And so since you have been in HYPIA for a long time and you've observed its evolution so far, what is it that you like about it, that you are so frequent a participant, the monthly house party, the Grand Fête, as well as within the chat? What is it that draws you to the association?
I guess the association gives a space to everyone who want to learn and improve their language skills, no matter how they deal that, no matter if they are professionals or not. Because I have met some people who just have learned language because these are their hobbies,
Hmm.
one of their hobbies. Um, and as we are bigger now, there are more members, and then we can talk to the ones who have more things in common with us that can uh, share experience of language mentoring and coaching that could be um, even a good thing because can make the group, our group, stronger. People like Steve Kaufman, who have been here. I remember one of our meetings, and then is going to attract people who have been to bigger and famous events like the Polyglot Gathering. I uh, I talked to one famous member. She's a member now, Elisa from
Yes.
Italy, and I knew about her out of HYPIA, and
Hmm.
then I was very happy to see that she's among us, and I see this as an improvement HYPIA that we are starting attracting people who have been working with language learning for a long time, and they can contribute with us, and we can help each other.
Okay, I agree with you 100%. My personal vision is that I would rather have the unsung heroes than the sung heroes join us, which is to say, I would like to have 18 and 19-year-olds or younger who join who are at
Mm.
6 and they're aiming for 10. I actually look to the future because although age is not a barrier, we know that, there
Mm.
is a huge crop of youth that is more integrated into the internet, more integrated into a global culture, and more attracted to the self diversification of the individual. So, as part of that self diversification, they are likely to learn more and more languages. So, we actually have a very bright future as a community, wider community, not just HYPIA, but polyglots. And this is where I want to ask you, in your experience, what are three important traits to be a good coach or to be a good mentor? What are three important qualities that a person should have to be able to do this job of coaching well?
Uh, I've I can tell you two for sure. Patience, being sociable. We need to like people, take the lead of talking to people. Don't wait for them to talk to us. Take the lead. And if we do this in life, we can do this professionally. For instance, when I go to the gym, I talk to people mostly. Um, and many people say, "Oh, I'm shy at the beginning, but after starting talking to me, I can be opener." So if everyone starts to wait for someone decision, nobody's going to talk.
Hmm.
So this is another trait of a mentor.
Let
So
me.
I could say that the third one should be the perseverance. So no matter how people uh, are, because there are some people who are not motivating, and we have done our best. We need to think of the ones who really want to learn,
Mhm.
and over the time, we are going to make our uh, aim better. And I have felt this after becoming a polyglot, after becoming a member of Hyper, that my results at work uh, have been better than before.
Oh, that's very good news. Those are three very useful traits for many professions, and I can see the value of that in your profession as well. So with that, I would like to thank you very much, Alex Souza. We're so happy to have you in our community. You're such a keen participant. and I hope to see you continue to be a dear member of our community. Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you, Usman. It was a pleasure to talk to you. I have talked to you many times, and of course, we want to keep talking to members who make our personal professional growth even more meaningful.
I agree. Thank you very much.